It's a positive film. It has heroes and villains, and that it essentially is a fun movie to watch. It's been a long time since people have been able to go to the movies and see a sort of straightforward, wholesome, fun adventure.
Well, it's a fantasy. It's not science fiction so much as it is space fantasy. And it's about people. It's finally about people and not finally about science.
The story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much nonsense to hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of.
It's sort of boiling down religion into a very basic concept. The fact that there is some deity or some power or some force that sort of controls our destiny works for good and also works for evil.
Marvellous, healthy innocence. Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go bang bang and people fall over and are dead, but, no horrors. A sort of wonderful freshness about it, kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
It's got whatever you want it to be. It's pure entertainment. It's like a roller coaster ride, and it can be interpreted as long as you enjoy it, which is the intention.
Hello, welcome back to Generation Skywalker. This is Gift What Gift? Obviously, it's 2021's edition, and joining me around the table tonight, I have got Grant. Good evening, Grant.
Good evening, gentlemen.
I've got Mark. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening.
I've got Daniel. Good evening, Dan.
Hello there.
And I've got Jess. Good evening, Jess.
Good evening, everyone.
What a little team this is. This is like the top range team we could put together on the show, isn't it? When Craig's sitting out. We never have a pop at Craig. So now, boys, last year we did it. We went through to give like a gift guide of ideas depending on age ranges, which we're going to do again tonight. So each of the boys have been looking at a certain age bracket and are going to bring you. Well, I've asked for 3 main presents, 3 stocking fillers, and 1 left field. But I think someone has rebelled and not got quite as many items as they should. But we'll let them off. So first of all, Mark, I'm going to come to you. Okay. You've got a couple of kids. What makes a good gift when you're choosing a gift?
Something they actually really want, first and foremost, but also take note right up until the last minute you can and try and find out if there's anything that's come out or is newly available that you know that they would love, that they probably don't even realise is out. So I've got a couple of things for my son, Zach. This year, and he knows nothing about them. They're going to be nice surprises, but I know full well he's going to absolutely love them.
Good advice. I just wanted to go back to when we were kids, okay? Because things are very, very different now, aren't they, when you choose gifts? Ask my lad what he wants for Christmas. He sits there and Googles and stuff and comes up with stuff. But when I was a kid, I would get an Argos catalogue and I would chop out with a pair of scissors and slap it on a bit of paper what I wanted. I just sort of go around how you went about choosing your gifts. I mean, Jez, there's quite a famous story of you. I think you wanted an AT-AT and ended up with a Rebel troop transport. Perhaps if you cut out an image from the Argos catalogue and stuck it on a bit of paper, you might have got what you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I'm sure that I did that. I'm sure I cut out stuff, and it was such exciting times back then, wasn't it? Simpler times, nostalgic times. Yeah, there's no way I wouldn't have done that, because I got an older and a younger sister, so I would have been caught in their sort of venturi of enthusiasm as well. So yeah, there was definite cutting and pasting going on when I was a kiddie.
Do you think you cut the AT-AT out and then stuck the wrong side down and the Rebel troop transport was on the back?
Hey, I had a Rebel troop transport, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with the way I turned out, and my childhood was absolutely amazing, and I love it. So back off, haters. Rebel troop transport's where it's at.
Is that your most memorable Christmas gift as a child?
Yeah, and the Skywalker, actually. I think because obviously Skywalker, people could say, oh, poor man's AT-AT or what have you, but no, it was just exciting times, and just not knowing. It's the surprise, isn't it, which makes it, there's this whole, oh, can I definitely have this, or can you put this, or oh, I know I'm getting this. It was a surprise when I got the Skywalker from my auntie and uncle. I had no idea that was coming, so that was lovely.
Grant, obviously you told us a lovely story over the course of this year on one of the old Fossils episodes about your Walrus Man mock, but obviously that's when you're slightly older. As a child, you're the same age as me. I think we're only like a couple of months apart. I never had a Star Wars toy for Christmas that I can recollect in those days. Did you get anything like that? Do you remember wanting Star Wars at those young ages?
Yeah, I've got quite a few memories. I remember waking up on Christmas morning, and in my stocking there was a Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader carded figure folded up into a stocking. Back in 1983, when Return of the Jedi came out, the big thing I wanted was the Rancor monster. And what I remember was going down to the local town, and we had a shop there called Merritt's. And Merritt's specialized in discount toys and importing toys into the country. So you'd see like Generation 1 Transformers, but it would have sort of Japanese writing on it. And I remember walking in there, and they had the Trilogo Rancor. It might be Christmas 83 or 84. I can't quite remember. And I remember pointing to Mum and saying that I really wanted it. And then later, as she put the shopping into the boot of the car, I remember seeing the Rancor in a plastic bag, and I pointed at it, and she went, "No, that's just a loaf of bread." It clearly wasn't.
Did you fall for it?
No, because you could see it was a Rancor monster. It's like the holy grail of my life was in a plastic bag. There's no way that was a piece of bread. But yeah, no, I remember really fond memories. And I think, if I remember rightly, because I didn't have many figures that were double when I was a kid. I think I had doubles of Stormtroopers and Hoth Stormtroopers. But I think I used to give her like the back of a 77 back or a 65 back backing card, and then circle the ones that I wanted. So, but one Christmas, because we didn't have much money, and my mum was a solicitor, and she was looking after a gentleman that owned a company, and the pipes burst in the business he was in, and a lot of his stock got damped and couldn't be sold. So I ended up getting a lot of Star Wars toys that had damaged so much Star Wars stuff, ridiculous amount of Star Wars stuff. Box B wings and Y wings and loads of stuff. But I didn't realize at the time that the packaging had been damaged. I just tore into those things anyway. But apparently we got really lucky that year, because there wasn't much money going around, but she managed to sort of get a really good deal on some damaged stock.
Karma. Good things happen to good people.
I was totally spoiled as a kid when it came to Star Wars, and we didn't have any money, but I never knew that. They spent it on me. So got even more Star Wars now.
Just a bit, mate. Just a bit, making up for it. I think actually, to be fair, I think we've spoken about it before. I think as kids, I only got toys at Christmas or birthdays. My kids walk in, and I don't think they appreciate the value of money, because they will go in a shop, and if I'm in the right mood, they'll be like, "I can have this," and you're just like, "Yeah, just stick it in the basket." And you're like, my parents wouldn't have done that when I was a kid. There was 4 of us, so it was a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't even get a screwball or a can of Coke. So no. twice a year you get a treat.
Exactly. Dan, though, you were spoiled, weren't you, being an only child?
I've got 2 brothers, but I was spoiled. I think similar to Grant, I had, remember that, I don't know if it was 83 or 84, that when Jedi came out, that Star Wars Christmas I had I think I got a Scout Walker, speeder bike, a Jabba the Hutt playset. Went around my granddad's Christmas day for Christmas dinner, and there was an AT-AT waiting for me. I must have got a dozen mocks that Christmas, so I've got really good memories of Star Wars and Christmas.
And the thing as well was that it was the only time of the year, unless you were super posh and had a video player, that you'd also get on Christmas Day to watch Star Wars on ITV.
My dad got hold of a pirate copy of Return of the Jedi, and we had that at home. So it was cinema quality as well. It weren't like nowadays where they sit in a cinema with a camcorder. He had a proper copy of it.
What year did you say they were first on the telly, Grant?
So 1982 was Star Wars, premiered in October 1982. Empire Strikes Back premiered Boxing Day 1988, and Return of the Jedi premiered Boxing Day 1990.
Yeah, see, I can always remember was Star Wars always being, we had a Betamax, and I can always remember there always being a copy of it, but it would make sense. 82, I was only 3, so it's probably always there growing up.
Yeah, isn't it mad though to think that Jedi, we had to wait till, 1986 for it to come out on video, which was like forever as a child, but to wait till 1990 so you could record it off a TV. 7 years, whereas now, they released that Black Widow and it's in the cinema for a week and then it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love that though. That anticipation, man, is that's what's missing. That this, the fact it's so disposable these days. The best thing about renting a video was the journey to the video shop.
Yeah, we used to have it on a Saturday morning. My old man would take us down to a video store, and we could all choose a VHS for the weekend, and then they'd choose a couple of movies for the family, and it was
and because it wasn't like songs of praise, every film was amazing.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a Blockbuster video either. It was normally in a little off license. They're all stacked up on the.
That's right.
On the guy serving.
Your heart breaks as you see the Ghostbusters. They got Ghostbusters 2, but they have a little tab on it saying it's out for rental. You're like,
oh yeah.
I've cycled 3 miles for this on a broken chopper.
Can you imagine if you took kids to that today and be like, what do you mean we can't watch it? And someone's already watching it.
Yeah.
My mum makes me laugh these days. Like with my kids, my lad's 10 now, and I could put on a film. She's like, oh no, that's a 15. You shouldn't be watching it. And I sit there and I think to myself, I mean, you sat there and watched The Omen with me when I was like 7. You let me watch Porky's when I was 8. Do you know what I mean? And they're like very different times. And she's just like, no, I don't think you should be. I'm like, what are you going on about? Mark.
Yeah.
I think you're the oldest of us here.
I am. I used to work in a video shop. That's how old I am.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get any? I mean, this is totally off topic, isn't it? We're video shops now, but hey, we're reminiscing. It's Christmas. Did you used to get any, like, be able to take them home?
Well, I mean, you could take whatever you wanted. I remember the video shop I used to work in. They had a basement, and in this basement was all the old video standees and stuff. So you used to be able to go down, and as long as it was down there and it wasn't being used, you could take it. So my bedroom when I was 17 was just plastered with video standees and posters and stuff like that from all sorts of real good science fiction films from back in the day. But on a Sunday morning, first thing Sunday morning, there was hardly anybody around, and I used to be in the shop by myself, and I used to stick Empire Strikes Back on the video. When you used to have like a bank of video, like TVs, we had a bank of TVs down the front of the shop, and it was a proper video shop. We didn't sell anything else. It was just videos. I used to have that on, playing on all 6 televisions in the video shop, and just to stand at the front of the shop watching it. It was great memories. Great memories.
Love an old video shop. Blockbuster kind of killed them to start with, wasn't it?
Yeah, all the independents went after Blockbuster, and what was the other one? There was another one. I'm sure there was another one that came along.
There was, wasn't there?
Wasn't there Rit or something as well? That was
something like that. Yeah.
Global Video.
Yeah.
Global Video.
Yeah, there's Global Video was a franchise. Our local one was called Janus, but someone ripped the J off it, so it was called Anus.
them are the sort of videos you like to get anyway, weren't they, Grant? Anus videos.
I remember because the anticipation was to finally watch Return of the Jedi, and this was I think it was March 1986. All I'd seen is clips every now and then, and if you were lucky on I think it was Muppet Babies, they would show some clips of it, and I knew it was going to be the greatest movie of all time. And I remember hearing that a friend who used to babysit me had a copy of it, and I went down there, and it was Caravan of Courage. So I sat there. Immediately as it started, alarm bells started ringing, like, look at the state of Luke. What have they done to Luke? And then it hit me, it wasn't. And about 2 or 3 weeks after that, Return of the Jedi arrived.
Can I just quickly tell you how we used to choose presents in our house? My sister and I used to get Kay's Catalogue. You remember you used to get those big, thick catalogues, Freeman's and all the rest of it. We had a Kay's catalogue, and we would go through the toy section at the back. And the aim of the game was you go through each page, and you were allowed to pick one thing off each page in the catalogue. And you go through, and obviously go through the girly section, past that bit. But every now and again, you come across the Action Man page, or the Star Wars page, or the Transformers page, and you used to be able to pick or circle certain presents that you wanted. And obviously my mum and dad used to be able to pick up on things that I was after. But I have to say I was very, very spoilt as a child. Our Christmases especially were amazing. But going back to what you were saying, Stu, about kids being taken into shops and being bought toys just off the cuff these days as if it's nothing, that was a bit like me when I was little. It certainly felt like that. If there was something I really wanted and I asked nicely enough, invariably I used to get it. So yeah, I was very lucky.
But it was all good until you discovered the lingerie section in the Kay's catalogue. You was about 13.
To be honest with you, mate, I was well into my 20s before that sort of stuff was ever any interest.
We had the Kay's catalogue, and I think it was the Kay's one and the Littlewoods, and it was always the Kay's seemed a little bit racier from the ladies of the Kay's catalogue anyway. I quite like that anyway. Yeah, so Kay's catalogue, lovely. That was good. Good times. Kay's, Argos and Littlewoods, wasn't it? They were the ones.
Yeah, I used to love chopping up a catalogue, especially if someone then wanted to go and read it. It was in pieces.
Don't read a catalogue.
Front to back. Have you seen that? I mean, the Argos catalogue's obviously gone now, but have you seen? There's a website online which has got every Argos catalogue, every page you can turn through, so you can go back to all the Christmases from when you were growing up and seeing what was. Because I think around '84ish, when Grant was just saying about getting the rank on that, I got into He-Man. We were spoilt at Christmases and birthdays, and I think '84 was the Christmas I got Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull and like all of the first wave of figures, and just I got photos of just all those toys. Probably switching over at that point, but love it. Absolutely love a Christmas catalogue. That Argos thing really excites me. I log onto it, and then you're like 2 hours later, you're like, my wife sends my child out to come and look for me. Like, I found Argos catalogues.
And what's amazing about it though is you go through them, you see like the evolution of things like technology.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be like, wow, look at that video player, and it's like 1983, and it's like 800 quid.
I think the evolution of the television, if you go back and look at that, from those tiny small screens to suddenly those massive wide screens with the biggest backs on them, and then like literally 2 years later you've got no back at all. It's just those television screens are incredible on there. I've looked at those. You're talking about technology. The phones are the other one. They're really interesting going through the years.
And also I think, you know, what's interesting now is if you got the Argos catalogue today, I don't even know if they still do them, but because all of these toys have gone retro, whether it's Star Wars or Ghostbusters or He-Man or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, catalogues probably look quite similar.
Yeah, they don't actually have a catalogue anymore, do they? They just have their like seasonal favourites. So there's a bit of a toy one at the moment. I
still flip straight to the back though and go to the toys. Can't help it.
Can everybody remember telephone tables? When you used to have a telephone table in your house?
Yeah, normally in the hallway if you had room.
Like a little bench with like a bedside cabinet stuck to the end of it, and so you could put all your directories and stuff, and the phone was in one central part of the house.
Yeah, and if you were like I'm going to use the word courting. I think that's good here. You're seeing a girl. You're like, you'd have to have your phone call in the middle of the hall where everyone's passing it. I mean, there were 6 of us in our house, so you kind of like there wasn't anywhere quiet to go.
I never had that trouble.
No, obviously I didn't want to ask. I can see why, mate. Yeah.
It's really weird as well because a lot of the idiot catalogues is like gifts for men, and you've got like all different kinds of cigarette and cigar gifts. You never get anything like that today.
No. We should definitely do an Argos catalogue reminisce show. Go through them.
And a case catalogue as well.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So let's bring it back on track a little bit. Last year we talked about where in the UK you could get your gifts this year for Star Wars. One of the ones I noticed we recorded last year was Debenhams, which is another store we've lost in the last 12 months. I know they didn't hold a lot, but you could go in there and find toys in there. So I personally think Smiths, since last year, are stocking more Star Wars stuff than they did. Anyone else notice that? My Smiths has definitely gone from a bit of a builder blade to a section now.
Yes, definitely seeing you're seeing a lot more Black Series in there, a lot more vintage collection, all the Mission Fleet stuff. Just after we recorded the last show, it blew up a little bit, but yeah, it seems to have, it's a little bit stagnant in terms of turnover, but yeah, there's definitely more of it than this time when we recorded last year.
That's down to the consumer though, isn't it? We're not
absolutely.
buying stuff. We mentioned it before, I think with the Entertainer has the same stuff on the shelves, but I mean, they stock it.
I mean, the popular figures have all gone. So when you know, whether it was a Bo Katan or something like that, all those figures are gone. I think it's just a load of Rays and Moff Gideons at the minute.
Grant just said it about an Argos catalogue this year, actually. Yeah, you do have in my Smiths, it's got Star Wars, and then you've got He-Man Origin figures, and then there's a load of Transformers. So it's kind of it is a nice little browse down that aisle.
Are kids actually buying these toys, or is it adult collectors?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? My lad has got my lad and daughter, they've got a box of Star Wars figures mixed from modern to vintage, and they've been playing with them loads recently, and he keeps, whenever he comes shopping with me, it's like, I can have a Mandalorian 3 3/4 inch figure and stuff. So he's definitely been getting a few bits and pieces in there. He now wants a FX lightsaber for his bedroom wall. Yeah, nice to see.
Harrison's got a mixed bag. He's after the Bad Batch figures at the minute, so he's got a couple of them already, and there's a couple more on his Christmas list. So yeah, he's definitely into them. There's definitely kids playing with toys, or certainly children of Star Wars fans playing with toys.
Yeah, probably not as many as what you think. I mean, the Origin figures, I don't know any children that are playing with them, but it's nice to see them. I mean,
the Transformers are super popular. These new ones they've done for this Netflix series, they're moving quite quickly.
But Transformers has had a pretty steady fan base, hasn't it? My my lad had Transformers growing up, and that's not in relation to me. I've got all my Transformers, but he's never played with them.
The retro figures that came out, did they originally do the 12 backs, wasn't it? The retro line.
Yeah.
Both in the UK and in the States, those retro figures were available in sort of like the men's clothing sections of department stores.
Both Tesco and Asda, I've seen a lot of the retro lines in them. They seem to have a steady flow of them in there.
Tesco's have got the Mandalorian ones in the toy section, so they're not separated out in the men's section. So they're actually with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. So other stores. I mean, there is stores. I went into my local HMV shut down, but I was in a town the other day and I went into one of them, and they've got quite a lot of bits and pieces in there now. Kind of, their downstairs hasn't really got any music or video anymore. It's all kind of pop culture items.
I see a lot of guys posting up pictures of vintage collection figures. I've not been on HMV for ages, but yeah, it looks like they're selling action figures now as well.
Yeah, they have got vintage collection in there, yeah.
JD Sports, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's a random.
On their website, they're selling some vintage collection at the minute.
Yeah, I got a Black Series Hoth Rebel Trooper off it today. That came up in our feed. Is Zavi still going as well? That was the old Virgin Megastore.
Yeah, you got Zavi. Other places, Amazon, Forbidden Planet. You then got the independent stores. You know, the Leicester Vintage Toy Shop. If people do on vintage, Dave Tree's all the cool stuff. I mean, he does pre-orders and all the toy lines, don't you? Star Action figures are still out there. Comics and cocktails. I mean, there is a lot of places to get them online. It's just I would just love to see a Toys R Us or something back.
Well, there was a news article, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was it last week saying the Daily Mail of all things, saying that it might come back to the UK because it's still in Canada?
That's right. Yeah, never shut in Canada, did it?
No, and maybe it was sort of like the hegemony of the US brand had probably taken it too far, but maybe some of the smaller countries could still facilitate a Toys R Us. I mean, it does feel a bit of a gap. It was quite exciting going there.
I read that article. It was alluding to the fact they were saying that an Australian company's bought it. I have to watch this space. Something we'll maybe keep an eye on in the modern way over the months.
Toys R Us, especially for when there was a new movie, couldn't beat it.
They always had that Star Wars. Well, even during like the 6-7 years ago, just before Disney bought it. I mean, they still had a section.
Yeah.
You go and have a little gander. Yeah.
The other place there is that wasn't around last year is Hasbro Pulse. So we've got Hasbro Pulse UK now. Not particularly cheaper than buying them from the independents, but if you take out their Premier membership, you get free postage and things like that. So if you're buying lots of figures, it's a way of making it work.
Going back to Toys R Us, part of that, I think when it was the Christmas advert for Toys R Us with the woman singing about all these things and, Jeffrey and all, and it was just, that was the excitement of, the kids had an advert dedicated to them. It was like that whole when Coke first had their advert about holidays are coming. That was great. I mean, I remember when Bristol Cribs Causeway had one of the first Toys R Us's, and the locals kicked off because the sign, the big sort of neon, well, not neon, but the big bright coloured sign, apparently it was too bright when they first opened the store, and locals complained about this Toys R Us being too bright and keeping people up at night, so they had to turn it down slightly. That just those Christmas adverts were nostalgia enough.
It had to be quite bright, didn't it? Because Jeffrey and his helpers are in there restocking the shelves.
That's right.
That Cribs Causeway one, I went there for Midnight Madness for The Force Awakens, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I remember Jedi News were there, saying that they had loads of stock, and we went in there and they didn't have hardly any stock.
We had the same problem. Me and Dan went to, where do we go, Dan? Brent Cross.
Brent Cross, yeah.
We went in there and he had they literally had one of each Black Series figure, didn't they?
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and helpers stock up all the shelves. From ceiling to floor, books, board games and bikes, teddies, puppets and dolls, bags, spaceships and trikes. There's millions, says Jeffrey, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
Let's get on to the guys. See, last year we just did a countdown of 5. This year, 3 main presents, so kind of £20-25 upwards, and then 3 stocking fillers, £20-25 below. Then something a bit left field. So, Dan, I'm coming to you first. So you've got preschool up to about the age of 5.
Then I've got the Ravensburger Star Wars Mandalorian Child Mini Memory Game. So yeah, you get 48 cards, all got various images from the Mandalorian on there. And yeah, you can play Snap with it. You can play the memory game and do pairs for £8. So not a bad price that on Amazon.
I love a game of pairs. Very good, I am at that.
Kids love it, don't they? Especially when you can smash them at it.
You got good in there, Dan. The reviews are very good. There's a lot of happy people buying that memory game.
You can't beat it, can you? For £8 as well. What a brilliant gift.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Next then it was not a toy, but I thought it was a nice little stocking filler. It's a nightlight, and Mandalorian. I mean, there's all different ones. If you go on Amazon, there's probably about 20 different Star Wars ones. So I saw a Death Star one, a Millennium Falcon, all sorts. I think my boy's got the Millennium Falcon one, and it's just a simple little 3D lamp, so kids get scared at night. So you've got a nice little image of the Mandalorian and a child in the darkness. And it comes with a little remote control. You can change the colours on it. You can set it to switch off when they've fallen asleep. And that is $17.99, which I thought was a nice little gift.
I do like that. That's actually very similar to one which I've got later on, because every generation, every age group needs lights. So yeah, good one there.
I like the fact that you can change the colour.
Yeah, you can get it to scroll through the colours as well. They're pretty nifty.
Depending on your mood, you mean red is like Jez, isn't it? Angry. Kind of got like the pinky one's a bit chilled, a bit like Grant, having a doobie. Gold's like Mark, kind of like another day.
Golden age, golden girl. Yeah,
got to get up. No, that's good. That's good, Dan.
So then the next one, I'm going to jump over to Shop Disney now for a Disney Store Grogu convertible fleece throw from the Mandalorian. So this is a nice little fleece blanket with images of Baby Yoda or Grogu on there, and it all folds up and goes into a little bag that looks like Baby Yoda in his crib. So I thought that was a nice gift for younger ones, like a blanket, don't they?
My daughter would love that. She has about this time last year. Do you remember I bought the plush Baby Yoda? She still goes around with it and she puts it to bed. So that is the kind of ideal blanket for her to cover him up at night.
So the next, I know you're probably all familiar with the Galactic Heroes, the little miniature figures that come with the kind of super deformed ships. They do large versions of these now, so 10-inch versions. I bought a couple of them for my nephew last Christmas, but they've got a Darth Vader, a Chewbacca, and a Stormtrooper. I've put the link in for the Darth Vader one. So these are 10 inches tall. The prices jump around quite a bit on these. So when I looked yesterday, they were 12 quid. Then earlier on, they were up to 21, and now they're down to 19.89 on Amazon. But you can get good deals on these. But yeah, they're pretty robust. 5 points of articulation, and yeah, kids can just smash them together. And yeah, I know my little nephew loved the hell out of his. They also do Power Rangers ones and Marvel hero ones. I think there's a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man one. They're pretty cool. That was one of my main presents. So you might want to buy 2 of those if you get them cheap. You could probably get a 2-for-1 on those.
It's quite Macquarie kind of lies, isn't it?
With the red eyes as well.
Yeah.
They're pretty good for 3 or 4-year-old. And then the next one is a new item. I only saw this yesterday. It's not released yet. It did say that it was coming out on the 11th of December, but that's switched now to the 28th. So it might miss Christmas, but I'm going to cross my fingers and hope it comes out before then. I've not seen a toy like this before. So this is in the new colours, if you like, for Boba Fett in his Book of Boba Fett fatigues with a bright green and black undersuit. It's called a voice cloner. So I think it's a bit like the Scream Saber. I think we've discussed it before. And basically you say something into the back of it and it repeats it back to you I'm assuming they're going to make it sound like Tamura Morrison. And it's also got a rocket pack that fires a missile out the top of it, a soft squeeze or an air-powered soft rocket launcher. So that's $44.99 at the moment. And yeah, it's gone pre-order at the moment, but hopefully, fingers crossed, that's out before Christmas. I think it looks pretty cool. 12 inches tall.
I've not seen that before.
I'm guessing that's a part of these bounty hunted Fridays or whatever they're having this year instead of False Friday. So I think every Friday leading up to and through the release of Mandalorian into January, they're releasing more items. My final item is the Razor Crest in the Mission Fleet. Spoken about the Razor Crest quite a bit on this show with the Hasbro Pulse, but here's another way of getting a Razor Crest if you missed out on the Pulse. Stu, you might have to get one of these. So these are everywhere. So I think I've seen them in Tesco. They've got them in Smith's and also on Amazon. They're around 40 quid. It's got a couple of rocket launchers on the front and the back and comes with a Mandalorian and Grogu little action figure.
I'm going to pick these toys up, actually. We've got the Mando speeder bike set and the Boba Fett set. They're well made. They're made little toys for kids. How much was this one down at the moment?
It's on Amazon. It's $41.02.
Bit random. I had these last year, didn't I, in my countdown? And I think I bought Falcon up at the time, which I think was about £40. Now in Asda at the moment, the Falcon is down to 20 quid, which is a great price. These aren't for the collector's market, having had them in hand.
No,
but they're definitely nice toys for the age
absolutely.
Range.
And then my left field item is a bike. So it's a Huffy bike. It's a Darth Vader Huffy bike. So it's got a nice big Darth Vader mask on the front. It's got 12-inch wheels and it's got splashes of red through it. And on the seat it says, "You underestimated the power of the dark side." Well, it's a nice bike. It's 200 quid mine, but it's got a little basket in the front so you can put your action figures in it. The handles have got Star Wars written into the handlebars. Yeah, I think it's a nice bike, 200 quid, but you know, what little Star Wars fan not's going to love that?
Is it the same Huffy as the vintage Huffy business that made the speeder bikes?
Honestly, I don't know. It's got to have something to do with them though, right? It says brand Huffy. You can't be too many Huffies going around selling bikes.
I've just opened up the reviews. The top review is the handbrakes do not work. And the second one says, worse than normal wear and tear, it's practically falling apart.
That's negative, people. It's got 5 stars. It's got like 4. It's got 64 reviews, averaging 4.5. It's a kid's push bike.
We've seen the scene in Santa Claus the movie when old Dudley Moore's machine doesn't quite go right and all the kids on their bikes falling off on Christmas Day. Yeah. But it's all right. It's a kid's bike. What more do you want?
Exactly.
Said Dan Burgess. Yeah. Okay. Well done, Dan. Some nice bits there. Let's crack it on. So primary age, kind of 6 to 11, we gave you, Mark. Last year you had your son's age, so this year we've gone a bit lower.
When you gave me this list, I went through this with the frame of mind that this would be stuff that I would buy rather than just bestsellers or what looks cool or is trending at the moment. I wanted to be stuff that I would want to buy for either myself or my kids. So the first thing I'm going to go for is on the Disney site, and it's based on something, one of the creatures you used to get at the Disney park, the Galaxy's Edge thing. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's Krykna spider creature from Mandalorian season 2, which was based on the Macquarie spiders from The Empire Strikes Back. You know, the portfolio, he had those very strange looking spiders on Dagobah. Very much based on one of those, and this thing is battery operated, and it sort of scuttles around, and it comes in a really beautifully designed case that looks like a cage with a little handle at the top. Really, really fantastic thing. I'm half tempted to get one of these myself. And like I say, they are available directly from Disney for $19.99. Second one. Now, this is not an item that I've ever come across before, but thinking about it, I wonder why, because it's such a sort of perennial favourite is Kaplunk, and this one's obviously Star Wars Kaplunk. Not available in many places, but I have managed to find it on a place called MK Books and Toys for $24.99. And as you would imagine, it's got a Star Wars theme. It's Kaplunk, dead simple, straightforward game, and it's in the shape of R2-D2. Dead straightforward, great fun. You can't go wrong with some of these old games. The old games are the best as far as I'm concerned. And thirdly, we've got the Star Wars Nerf Mandalorian Rocket Gauntlet. And I think this is something we covered in a previous podcast. I mean, who would not want Boba Fett's rocket gauntlet on their sort of wrist? Fantastic. And these are £20 currently on Amazon. So, I was a fun with one of those. And going up to the bigger budget presents, the main presents. And again, this is something we've covered before. I'm going to go with a perennial favourite, which is Lego. Can't go wrong with Lego. Adult and children collectors, can't be wrong. The Bad Batch Attack Shuttle set, which is currently on Smith's at the moment, and it's for around £70. So, like I say, we've covered that one before. Comes with 6 figures, including a Gonk droid, a couple of speeders in there. Good-looking set. Still tempted to get this myself.
It's a great build,
secondly, now, I think Dan beat me to this. I went for the Mission Fleet Mandalorian Razor Crest as well, because I think the age range sort of crossed over a bit. I might be wrong. So, Dan's already got that one covered. Third one is a bit of a strange one, really. This is the Star Wars Galactic Snacking Grogu, 9¼ tall animatronic toy with over 40 sound and motion combinations and interactive accessories. And this isn't a game as such, it's just a very cute-looking plastic rendition of Grogu, which you are able to feed and interact with. My little girl's got a similar thing it's like a teddy bear where it'll sit there, and if you don't mess around with it for a while, it'll start making noises at you and ask you to play with it and stuff. So this is a similar kind of thing. These are not cheap. They are £85 and available from Argos at the moment. And my left field oddball item, it's not really a toy or anything like that, but it's something that I think a lot of kids would quite like in the room, a lot of Star Wars fans. I'm quite partial to this as well, is the Star Wars logo light, which is available from Argos at the moment, which is £20. And this is basically the classic Star Wars logo, 3 dimensions, and it's plug-in, basically light ornament. And I would imagine that would look fantastic in any kid's bedroom.
I saw that earlier on, Mark, that Star Wars logo. Yeah, I thought that would look quite smart in any room, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, yeah, it is, yeah, definitely one which I thought, yeah, that'll do. Yeah, and I hadn't seen that before. I've seen it in a few places today, but I think it's definitely, even though that logo's been around for a while, I haven't seen it advertised like that or in a product like that before.
No, and I think for 20 quid, it's a good little stocking filler, that.
Nice. So that brings us to Jez. So Jez, you've got like secondary age, kind of teenage, 12 to kind of 17. I know you've been really delving into this, Jez. So
yeah,
very excited by your list.
What do you want to go for first? Do you want to go for the stocking fillers or the main? Should we go stocking fillers? Yeah, I was racking my brains. I think I was overthinking this because, yeah, the age group you gave me was 15-year-olds to 17-year-olds, and I thought, right, slap bang in the middle, got a boy and a girl. Because, you know, I was thinking about it, and, you know, if I'd thought about this a few years ago, I would have probably just been thinking about male toys. But, you know, as Star Wars is diversifying massively, and it's, you know, for all generations and all genders, I was like, right, okay, I'm going to try and get out there and see what I can find. But if I was to say to my kids, what do you want? You know, what do you want from a Star Wars point of view? At this age group, they would probably turn their nose up, I would have thought. Just because for them, it's more about the disposable stuff, be it, you know, what they're catching up with, stuff online. It's a lot to do about being connected, being out there. And as they're now starting to go towards thinking about being out and about a little bit more, maybe a bit of employment, and maybe starting to potentially look at getting a car. So for me, Star Wars probably wasn't ticking their boxes, and very much like way back when in the 80s, when we were all then maybe drifting away from Star Wars. That's probably about the same age group which I'm looking at. If I'm going for stocking fillers though, we've already said 2 people have already mentioned lights, and yeah, I had looked at quite a few different lights before, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop into our chat this one which I've seen on Etsy. There were loads of different ones which were available, and again, my kids have lights in their room, as in we've all got lights in our room, but no, they're a massive fan now of these sort of, you know, brightly coloured lights to sort of go with their mood or to go with music. And again, so this is what you're looking at here is a personalized Star Wars BB-8 nightlight, where at the bottom you can actually have your name as part of it when you order it. It's really, really decent, and it's got all these different it's a remote control feature, lots of different lights available, lots of different colors, and it could be for anyone's bedroom. So yeah, 4 different modes, 16 different colors, and it can be USB or batteries. And actually for $19.99, again, that could be for all of the age groups. And as we said, you know, from the very youngest to get a light like that, yeah, really, really nice. So that's something decent. Now here you go, for those people struggling to get something for their sort of teenager who's always in their room and always on their mobile phone. Well, I was thinking the chances are they've often been out, oh, can I charge my phone? my phone's out of charge. So here you have Kylo Ren power bank, which is actually really, really cool because it's a social power bank as well, because you can have two things charging off it at the same time. It's a really, really decent power bank, which is currently in the sale. So bargain for mum and dad. And so it's normally £25. It's currently £14.99 and just a couple of pound postage packaging. But this thing with the Kylo Ren design on it, when you've got something plugged in and it's charging or being charged, Kylo Ren's lightsaber, the LED in that sort of lights up, and it's just something a bit different. And I know that my kids would use that. So I think from a toy point of view, it's pretty good. And then the other one going for teenagers is my daughter's already lost her official Apple ones, which are great because they're not cheap. So AirPod cases. Lots of kids nowadays have AirPod headphones, the AirPod cases, and rather than go around with the proper charging case all the time, which usually costs about 60, 70 quid, you can buy lots of different ones. I've shown you guys the Mandalorian helmet, but I've seen Darth Vader helmet, Stormtrooper helmet, and a Grogu helmet as well. So from stocking filler point of view, I think these are relevant for kids and for the teenagers, and they would absolutely use them. And again, these things aren't going to break the bank. They value between, say, $11.99 and $14.99. So these ones I've seen on truffleshuffle.co.uk, and there's iwantoneofthose.com as well. So loads of places where you can get those. So three little stocking fillers for you. What do you think of those?
I like them. I like the charging bank. I think that's a great little.
Yeah, I was quite chuffed when I found out earlier on. Yeah, iwantoneofthose.com. So yeah, check it out. 15 quid, and apparently it's a pretty decent charging bank. I don't know how many charges you can get out of one of those, but I mean, even for a convention or something like that, if we're going away, if you're at a farmer's farm doing loads of recordings and this, that, and the other, yeah, it could be for any of us. 15 quid bargain. I think you're going to buy one of those, aren't you, Stu?
Very tempted, Jess. Yeah, very tempted.
Yeah. Right, so shall I go on to the main ones?
I would love that.
Okay, right, so I'm going to bring up the link now. So classic for everyone's little favorite, R2D2 Lego. All right, so it's the new 50th anniversary R2D2 Lego. It's $179.99. I think from a generational point of view, R2D2 has just been ubiquitous. He's just there, isn't he? He's omnipresent throughout the saga. And this little chap, it says 18 plus. I'm sure it's going to be. I've read some reviews where it says, 10-year-old could do this easily enough. 2,314 pieces. Great little thing. The item number, for those of you who follow these things, is 75308. That's the one I'm talking about. But this R2 unit, I love the fact that it's got all the features, it's got all the bells and whistles, it's got various different compartments which come out, it's got a sensor scope which pops up, it's got a lightsaber which pops up, but also the third leg, the retractable leg, so you can have that up or down, and it comes with a great little 50th anniversary plaque. So it just looks great. And from a Lego point of view, I've always thought that Lego was really, really expensive, but from what you get with this, actually I think that price point is really good. So it stands about 13 by 8 inches, and it's had 70 5-star reviews, 3 1-stars, where people have said, a few bits were missing and stuff. So generally, it's been very well received a bit. So Lego R2D2.
The things like the retractable leg and that they're so good, aren't they? They're little bits. I mean, I've got the children bought me the BB-8 a few years back. It's in the same scale as this, comes with the little plaque and everything. And he's got the little thumb with the little flame that comes out of his body when you turn his front part. And genius bit of engineering to be built into it. And it looks like that's got the same sort of setups on that. Yeah, quite like that.
I like when I was looking at that, there was what really sold it for me. There was a video which came with it, so I clicked on that and I was like, oh wow, they had me at the middle leg, and that's not something I've ever said before. But it's it was really, really good. I'm going to move on to the next piece now, which again is just thinking about my kids and thinking about what they're up to and stuff like that. This connected world. Garmin do a great range of kids bands, from really, really young ones, just little tracking devices and step devices and stuff. And this is a Garmin smartwatch, which you could say, I don't know how much these latest Apple watches are, but this is, from a fitness tracker and from a connected point of view, it's very comparable, but almost certainly cheaper. But it's got a really, really great Star Wars theme to it. They also did a Vader one, but I just wanted to focus and bring this to the fact that this, we are moving away now from just sort of the masculine presence, so to speak. So this is $329.99. And yeah, they did a Darth Vader one, but this can connect to your Spotify, this can connect to your phone, to your emails, to your texts. It's got safety functions as well. So with regards to, tracking, looking after your kids, making sure that they're safe. Batteries on them last for ages. But it's got lots of different Star Wars functions with regards to the app, so you can customize it. There's lots of things to this. They can set up Garmin Pay, make your kids, make your teenagers feel like they've got that little bit more independence, and smart notifications all over it. So from a fitness point of view as well, I think as children start to see it now, that they're thinking about their health a little bit more as well. I know that my two are, and so it goes into a great deal of detail, probably more than they need in some respects. But I've had a Garmin now for 5 years, so these things will hopefully grow with them. And the Star Wars is subtle enough, the Star Wars elements to it, that it's not like one of those things where I would have thought in a year or so they'll be embarrassed about it. So I just think the range of Garmin watches is definitely something which you could look into. I think are really, really smart. Bet you guys weren't expecting me to show you one of those.
I want one of those now.
Yeah, nice.
Cool. No, yeah, they're all right, aren't they? So the next thing which I want to look at, or the final sort of main present, which is something which I think Dan, I think you and Stu know about. I think you've probably even got them, which are the Oculus 2 virtual reality headsets, which start from $299.99 and go to $399.99, depending on the storage which you have with them. And I know that these now come with five different Star Wars games. So you've got the Vader Immortalized, or the Vader Unleashed, I think, is 1, 2, and 3. There's a pinball one, but there's a Galaxy's Edge game as well. Now, Stu, I actually want to ask you about these, buddy, because is that right? Do you have one of these, and would you recommend them?
Well, last Christmas, my lad wanted a PS5, and I couldn't, for the life of me, get hold of one. So we bought one of these to kind of, to fill that gap. What I would say is we've got the bigger memory, and I would recommend that if anyone was. I know it's another £100, but I have read things that the cheaper one soon fills up. But we've got all of the Star Wars games except the pinball. They're brilliant. They're not very long, but immersing yourself in a VR Star Wars world. I mean, the Vader Immortal trilogy is brilliant. My lad plays that all the time. But the Galaxy Edge one is just amazing. I mean, you start off, you walk into a cantina, and like you have an interaction with the barman, and like you can just turn around and walk around and see, these worlds like you are in them. I think they're amazing. My lad loves his Oculus. I was glad that the PlayStation was sold out. I managed to get one for his birthday, so he's all made up with that. But the Oculus he goes to quite a lot, and some of the games he's up running around, so it's kind of like not just sitting there.
I've had a crack at it, mate. The Vader Immortal game. It is fantastic. It's a bit of vertigo sometimes, because it does feel like you're over a lava pit with 5 stormtroopers shooting at you whilst you're swinging a lightsaber around your head. But I loved it. I was quite happy just to go on to the tutorial where robots keep on attacking you from different directions, and you just swing your lightsaber around, and it was a proper workout as well.
You've also got, Jez, there's also a game called Beat Saber, where you're holding 2 lightsabers. I mean, you must remember the old dance mats.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. So you've got the controllers in your hand, and they send you've got boxes flying at you, which are different colours, and you might have to strike your lightsabers up or out or in or cross them, and you've got to hit these targets all the time to progress. I mean, certain songs are a lot faster. That's a brilliant game. That is great fun. So that's another Star Wars related one.
Have you got that?
Yes.
You've got that. So I would love to see a video of that. Because I know, remember, was it in Celebration 2016 you tried the VR headset on and ran into a wall?
Ran into a wall, yeah, that's an experience. That was the first ever time I'd gone on a VR. I don't know whether Dan and Mark, I mean, I knew you then, but I don't know whether did you go on the VR in Celebration London?
Is it the ILM lab thing they had
we went over there one morning before the place opened, didn't we? We managed to get in first. And it was kind of like,
it was good.
They cleared you up, and do you know when the shuttle lands and the stormtroopers start running off? Well, I ran towards them thinking, I'm going to go and get them with the lightsaber, and ran straight into the wall.
It's called virtual reality, not just reality.
Yeah, brilliant.
Virtual insanity. Yeah, so that's my list. Three exciting stocking fillers and 3 main presents. I think the kids have done well if I manage to get anywhere near half that.
You've caused us considerable inconvenience. In a moment, the Lord of this monolith will give you a task A word of advice. Do not anger Vader.
Now that Vader's found you, he's in reach of enormous power. You must escape.
Grab my hand!
I wonder what Vader is after.
It appears Vader has finally found his candidate. And our future is in your hands. Vader is here.
You are the one I've been searching for. Do as I command.
Is there any version of this plan that doesn't end up with us being dead?
You wanted something out there, didn't you? Did you want to say something left field?
Yeah, a bit left field, Jess. What have you got?
A couple of different things which I've got, because one thing just came to me earlier on. So what I had, first of all, I was like, right, what I like to do sometimes when you're in a queue, you know, then kids can be queuing or doing something or going away, can't beat every now and then just to whip out a packet of cards, be it playing cards or top trumps or something like that. And it'll be one of those things which kids just wouldn't think about at all. But actually, when you do it, they could be invested in and be like, oh, right, yeah, okay. And I've seen that, you know, when I've been away and taking the kids to sort of theme parks or what have you, and we just got them out. So I think it'd be one of those times where, you know, I can imagine seeing my son would be out with all of his mates and they'd be doing something. And often, you know, we think of this generation just conversing with each other via texting each other, even though they're only like, you know, 2 meters apart in that sort of generation, constantly on their phone. But to get out something which is physical thing, which they can just have in their back pocket and just play top trumps or any type of card game would be something a bit different, which they hadn't seen. And could you describe that now in the 21st century as a little bit out there? So yeah, top trumps, Mandalorian top trumps, which top trumps have gone up in price now. These are $8.99 to $9.99, or just quite simply Waddington's Star Wars Mandalorian cards. I've got these to show you on both. So yeah, the Mandalorian Waddington's playing cards are just $3.99. So these are available right now at winningmoves.co.uk and loads of other places as well. So you could just get some of those. And yeah, £4 Mandalorian Star Wars playing cards. You never know when you need playing cards.
I love a playing card. Definitely playing a bit of strip poker this farthest from coming, Jez.
I might have to get my buff on a little bit, you know, get back to the gym. I think we're all carrying a little bit of COVID weight there. So, yeah, maybe. But, you know, there's also Mandalorian top trumps. It's just like, you know, you're looking at, again, some of the old characters and just, I don't know, it's just that whole reminiscing thing, and we're like, oh wow, I just think they're nice little stocking fillers. I know that we've already done that, but just something a little bit different to again take us back to simpler times. But if you wanted something completely left field, for me, at this age group with the kids with 15 and 17, is treasuring those moments which you get rarely now. When you've got kids who are like 5, 6, 7, you know, you're with them all the time, you're out, you're doing this and the other, but they're such independent people now. So for us, if it's a case of, right, yeah, we're going off, we're having a day out in London, and I think from Star Wars Connection point of view, to say, right, kids, I've bought us all some tickets to Madame Tussauds, which I think would be, you know, a great little gift for someone to have, like in a Christmas card or something like that. So you can get Madame Tussauds tickets for 30 quid, and it really, really is a great day out. And I think, you know, you guys might have seen from where my kids were there when they were really young, when Madame Tussauds first started with the Star Wars thing, and now they went back just a couple of weeks ago, and you see them same poses, but just like 5, 6 years apart. For me, that's really, really priceless, you know. So yeah, something a little bit different. If they get something physical, give them a Star Wars treat day out, Madame Tussauds in London.
Can't beat an experience. Nice, well done, Jez. Lovely items in there. A couple I've not seen before. So that makes us adult. Grant, got to be the nicest bit to research, I always think, on this gift goes. I mean, I bet you've got loads more than 3.
I think Jez has just ruined it for me, because like his are way better and also far more applicable to adults than my choices.
Sorry about that.
And I could actually say, oh, you could actually tell. It's like, oh wow, you can tell that Jez has been buying Christmas presents for young people for the last 15 years, where I haven't, because they were amazing choices. Okay, so bit of an issue with finding products actually for the adult market that's licensed anyway, and that's pretty much down to, Disney and Lucasfilm always saying that they don't want to promote anything sort of decadent. They would never promote things like, Zippo lighters or anything to do with gambling or anything like that. So I had a bit of a think around, but I guess I should have stolen your list, mate. We should have traded, because I think mine's a bit more applicable to the secondary school list. But first up, anyway, is the Fantasy Flight Games Star Wars X-Wing miniature games. So this comes as a main present. So this is a tabletop tactical ship-to-ship dogfighting miniature game. It's a bit like the PC game X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, but on a table, if you can remember that old PC game from mid-90s. This first came out in 2012. It's a dice rolling game similar to sort of Warhammer. It's sort of like miniature spaceships flying around a table on a turn-based strategy. They released the second issue of the game in 2018, which has sort of like new rules, but you can still use the miniatures. And it's had multiple expansion packs, and the expansion packs are based on bringing new ships and vehicles into the game itself. So your core set is actually quite cheap. You can get a core set for about £30, and then you can find the sort of smaller ships like A-Wings and X-Wings for about £10, and then you've got your sort of more expensive capital ships that start going for £50 and up. It's incredibly popular at the moment. A lot of sort of like the role-playing fans sort of enjoy playing this as sort of like a Warhammer substitute. I've got a small trailer for it as well.
Control the most advanced starfighters and skilled pilots in the galaxy. In the Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures game, you will command a group of merciless Imperial or daring Rebel pilots in furious ship-to-ship space combat. Take control of TIE fighters, X-Wings, and other ships from the Star Wars universe and pit them against each other in thrilling tactical battles. Win by eliminating all of your opponent's ships, or complete the objectives in one of X-Wing's pre-generated missions. The X-Wing core set includes all the components necessary for 2 players to get started, as well as several missions offering unique victory conditions.
I'd like to have a game of that. We've already just mentioned London Celebration back in 2016, I think it was. Alongside our booth there that we had, they had one of these laid out, didn't they? Do you remember, Grant? They had a big setup of it next to us.
Yeah.
I've
did.
never played it. Have you ever played it?
No, I haven't played it, but it's something, I was big into Warhammer in my early teens. But I know a lot of people I work with and stuff, they have their own clubs and play some of the games, whether it's the Games Workshop games like Blood Bowl or Warhammer, or some of the other sort of suppliers, that do things like Vampire the Masquerade. But this X-Wing game is actually, it's extremely popular. It's sort of like a bit of a Star Wars subculture there. And when we were in Chicago, when was that? 2018 for Celebration 2018. I went over and had a look at the stall, and like the miniatures are really nice actually. Especially they had like a Super Star Destroyer there, which was massive in compared to the other ships. But they also, what's fun about it for the Star Wars fans is they won't just stick to your main vehicles in the films. They'll go, they'll grab some expanded universe 90 ships and add those to it. So I think for people who are really into all the ships and vehicles and stuff, and tabletop games, and especially with I think maybe the younger generations are more into their iPhone and their buy to win sort of free download games and all that kind of stuff. I think this is an alternative that probably would appeal to some of the sort of older generation. I don't know if you'd agree with that. I'm a bit out of touch with it all.
No, definitely. Don't know what the others think.
When I was that age, probably I remember getting the Warhammer stuff and so on. They didn't have with the West End games, a similar kind of thing, wasn't it? You had all the figures, and I wasn't very artistic though. I always messed up the painting of it. Did these come pre-painted or they? Yeah.
That's. I mean, I used to like painting the miniatures, but these come pre-painted, and they look pretty good, and it's a lot more than just rolling the dice. Jez, you could probably help us with all the terminology of flying around and dives and all that kind of stuff. And
I'd have probably been in on that stuff then.
But I don't know, maybe we should get some and have a go.
I was just about to suggest that maybe 2022 we do make a pledge to get together and have a game of this.
Yeah, why not?
I bet you Dan loses.
Probably.
Well, Jez will lose because he'll bring a bloody rebel transporter to the fight.
and a vehicle maintenance energizer. I love it all. And yeah, we will be climbing and descending. We'll be doing various different maneuvers.
That's it. So that was the first main present, and I think there's a wide spectrum there. And I think my second one is much in the same vein as the first one. And I think you can sort of like buy entry level, or gift entry level products that might actually inspire, the person receiving the gift to dive a bit deeper and get interested in it. So the next one is the Bandai model kits. Remember back in the day, we've had like ERTL and all of these different other companies come out and build model kits. So the license at the moment seems to be at Bandai. Now, Bandai is a Chinese company, which I believe is named after a famous mountain in Japan. Bandai was founded in 1950 and was making sort of textiles. And then from textiles, they sort of moved into outdoor toys and then onto action figures and then onto models. Now, interestingly enough, Poppy, which is the company that made the Empire Strikes Back Kenner figures for the Japanese market, that's actually a subsidiary of Bandai, which is something I didn't know. And those were the figures that obviously came in a box rather than a figure in a blister on a card. So Bandai's evolved quite a lot since it was founded and its inception. They also moved into the video game market as well. They were behind issuing Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo in the early 90s, which was a pretty big deal at the time. I'm really interested in these model kits, and the reason why I got quite interested in these is, you can get the original model kits, and the original model kits, even the vintage ones, don't seem to hold any price. You can pick them all up quite cheaply. It's probably the one thing in the vintage market that doesn't hold its price that well at all. Or you can actually find model kits from the 90s, and you can pick them up for pennies.
You've just jinxed it now. They're going to go through the roof when you said that.
Yeah, it is. And it's like talking Helix again. But I'm looking on the prop store, and I obviously I'll get really excited by all of these prop store items. And this week, I think it's actually tomorrow, they're auctioning off a Return of the Jedi XWing, and this is a model that has like a light up engines on the back. It was used in the movie Return of the Jedi, and it's got an estimate on it of about £300,000, which I'd really like that. But I think it's a bit expensive. But what's interesting about these X-Wings that they use for Return of the Jedi is that they were actually kit bashed from the X-Wing models that was issued for Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. So they took off-the-shelf X-Wing models and then took them apart and painted them up and added gimbals to them and added much more detail to them. And those are the models that are actually used in the film, kind of like the way they used the Kenner die-cast TIE fighter for the Emperor's arrival on the Death Star. I'd really like one of those prop store £300,000 X-Wing models. I'd go really well in my cast and crew cabinet, but I can't afford it. But I think these Bandai models could sit there as a wonderful substitute. You can get these models in all different kinds of scales. I think 148 is a scale, 172 is a scale. There's videos online of people doing like amazing sort of custom jobs for it. The majority of ships that they've actually released are original trilogy. You can get your stocking filler £20 model kit, but then you can go to the high level model kits there where you start getting the Superstar destroyers with the fiber optic lights inside. So the reason I suggested this for 70 plus, once again, because I think would this be interested for the iPhone generation? Maybe not, but to me, model making and model painting and all that kind of stuff is almost like a form of meditation, and perhaps it would appeal more to the older generation who wants an hour outside of bringing up kids or worrying about work or something like that. So I thought these Bandai model kits might appeal to that. But I would be absolutely interested in getting one. There's a Facebook website where you can actually send your models off to people to have them professionally painted. They come back with ILM looking models, and I think for my cast and crew, if I can't get that £300,000 Return of the Jedi X-Wing, maybe I'll just get one of these models and have it painted up as good as an ILM crew and save myself £2,999. Thoughts on that, guys? What do you think?
You struck a chord with me when you said about people nowadays just wanting that little bit of time out away from work, TV, phone, connected and stuff. And I think it's massively important. I think as people recognise that more and more from a just sort of me time, a little bit of self-preservation, mental health type stuff. I mean, that's why I think me and Julie walk the dog all the time and go for runs just to get away from the phone, the work, the TV and stuff like that. So to have something like this where you could just sit down and just make this, I think is going to be really therapeutic.
Yeah, and if I, okay, you're looking at images there of the Bandai models. But if I just send a link in now of a prop store model, and you can see there how you could easily make a prop store looking original, Return of the Jedi X-Wing from one of those Bandai kits, have it professionally painted, and look as good as the ones that they used in the movie. I think that would look amazing in a cabinet.
Grant, you were wrong because you just said just now that, oh yeah, you're looking at these images and no, because of your exceptional sales pitch, I wasn't looking at images. I'm actually got Amazon open and I'm looking at the Revel 01200/1200 X-Wing Starfighter Star Wars Luke Skywalker Model Grey Red 1 to 72,000 scale or 1 to 72 scale X-Wing, £28.11. Looks amazing.
It does.
So, with 991 ratings of just over 4.5 stars. So these things do look great. I can again, price point wise, 24 quid. What you've got there is a really well detailed one, which would take you longer than it would to put together a Lego X-Wing, and probably half the price of one. So definitely a good call.
Yeah, and some of them come with a base that looks like sort of like the Death Star surface and stuff like that. I just think if you put that with some storyboards behind it or some cast and crew items around it, it would look like you've got a screen use model. That's why. Sorry, I was supposed to do 3, but I only managed to get around to doing 2. So that was the 2 main presents. Onto the stocking fillers. So the first thing I've got up is called a Paladone R2D2 travel mug. So this is your standard travel mug. Those who commute to work still, or if you like a bit of camping. Obviously, it's for hot drinks. There's a lot of knockoff travel mugs out there, but this is a licensed version made from brushed steel, and it's far better quality. Now, I like to go hiking and camping a lot, so I buy a lot of travel mugs. I don't like cheap travel mugs, especially ones with sort of like the plastic interior. I think you could taste the plastic in the coffee. This has got like a steel interior to it, and I was actually gifted one of these as I left my last job, but I took it camping for the first time. I used it and it was great. And I'm going to say someone stole it because I can't find it anymore. But it's probably highly likely I put it on the roof of my car and drove off with it on the roof of my car. But these are actually really nice little stocking fillers. There's an R2D2 one, there's a Mandalorian one, but I think they did more than that. I just couldn't find any at this time. But like I said, what you're actually paying for here is, you could get a travel mug from any hiking shop for 8 quid. You can get these for 10, 12 quid. They normally retail about 17 quid. But there's like indentations as well in the detail. Yeah, so it's not just like a print put on the side of a travel mug. It's actual R2D2, So I thought it was a great piece. And now I've lost it, I will actually be replacing it because it was super high quality. So next up, what else to get for a stocking filler? So I've gone to Regal Robot. Regal Robot Art and Decor. They're famous for sort of deluxe models and ad hoc furniture. I guess you guys might have seen some of their stuff, like they do a Emperor's chair, like a life-size chair, just looks like exactly like the Emperor's throne. Probably doesn't squeak either, so you probably wouldn't be, if I had one, you probably wouldn't be picking up my squeaky chair on the podcast. To me, it's bizarre because they make some stocking fillers. Now, I wouldn't actually buy this stuff, but if I was gifted it, I'd be really excited and really happy with it. So they have a series of magnets, and the kind of magnets you get are really, I don't know if any other licensees ever made pieces of this. So you can get things like C-3PO's restraining bolt. That little bolt that goes on his chest, you can get sort of like a replica of that. Or, the Mandalorian, he's got those grenades he sticks on his belt that, you press the button and they turn red and explode. You can get like versions of that, or, magnets of Wampa limbs or monster head sculpts. Or you can get like sculptures of sort of the Mudhorn skull or the Mythosaur skull. So lots of little tiny gimmicky kind of opportunities to get just really bizarre gifts, really. They also do sort of like wood art plaques, such as the Docking Bay 94 sign, or the sticker that is C-3PO removes, the Wampa 1 sticker that C-3PO removes from the deleted scene of the Empire Strikes Back. So you can get some wood art items as well. But what I'm going to put up for you guys there is sort of like the stocking filler items. But like I said, not something that I would buy. But if one of you guys bought me one of those, you haven't got long, mind. It's always getting towards Christmas, and they got to be posted in from America. But yeah, what thoughts on these? Really unusual.
I must admit, you talking about Regal Robot. Obviously, they're sold a lot of them on Sideshow.com, but there's a piece by Regal Robot. It's not a stocking filler piece, but the amount of times I've put it in the basket and then not pulled the trigger, and that is the Space Slug Desk Organizer. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh yeah, it's good.
You've got like a part of an asteroid which you can put your paper clips and stuff in, and then you've got the space slug coming out of one side, and then it gives you a little tiny falcon which you could put on the end of one of your pencils, so it looks like it's flying out of the mouth of the space slug. It's brilliant. I absolutely adore that piece, and I know it's only a matter of time before I get that ordered and sent over.
That restraining bolt we spoke about out in the Modern Way, I think it was the last one we did. I think we were all overly impressed with that. But again, it goes in the basket and you think, oh, 30 quid for a fridge magnet. But like you say, if someone bought it for you, you'd be brilliant.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I wouldn't buy it myself, but if that arrived, I'd be quite happy with that. Did you see, where was it? When was Celebration Orlando?
2017.
Yeah, and I think, was it Regal Robot that had that dewback sofa that they made? Do you see that?
A dewback sofa?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
I thought we talk about stocking fillers here.
Well, obviously you have to check out the enhanced version.
Oh my God, I found it.
What do you think of that?
Look at that. That's incredible.
In the Jess, man.
I've never seen that before.
You've got a drinks holder or drinks holders.
That is amazing. I wonder if there's a speaker. Yeah, that's just so good, isn't it?
Some of the stuff. The Millennium Falcon coffee table as well, flying in the asteroids, is amazing as well, isn't it?
It's nice to find some really sort of unique stocking fillers, and the chances are, what's the chance of someone else buying them the same thing?
Okay, here we go. The piece de resistance of the booth. That's French, which means totally awesome.
Oh, cool.
Tell me about this.
So this is Dewey. Dewey is an example of what we call our custom studio. And what that is a way for people to get things that couldn't be made as a sort of standard product. But with the custom studio, we can go through and do really unique stuff for people that is very specialized to their interests and their loves and their space and their passions. And what we started with here was this 3D scan of the original prop head that we then had milled in a basic foam shape, like almost like a dewback marshmallow. And then Richard went in and sculpted all the scales in and built out the rock section, built out the whole tail.
Can we sit in it?
Of course.
Of course.
That's what it's here for.
It's like a little dewback love seat. Hang on.
Exactly what it is.
Oh, I can feel the love.
People have been coming through all weekend and taking pictures, and I'm so excited that folks like it. It's one of those things where somebody in our place said, what about a dewback sofa? And we're like, yes, of course we have to make a dewback sofa. And then we went, is anyone else going to like a dewback sofa?
I want a dewback sofa.
Everyone loves a dewback sofa. It's awesome. I'm very
great.
excited.
So this will be coming to like a major retailer near you. No.
This is right now it's a one-off, and if somebody wants to take Dewey home with them, they can. What's cool is the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
The inspiration that comes from Star Wars and the original trilogy classics is bottomless for us. We have a lot of really cool concepts. We have a lot of stuff that's in the works. But I'm so excited for people to start contacting us about custom stuff and telling us what they love and telling us, what scenes they love, what characters they love, what obscure prop makes them excited. And then we can come up with some cool way to turn that into a functional piece that they never knew they needed.
It's fantastic. And again, once again, all the furniture here, everything we see is available. It's all for sale.
Okay, so one from left field.
I thought the sofa was the left field one. I've not seen that.
What I've got from left field, and I'm not sure if this is for the 17 plus, but I've got the Ruby Star Wars candy bowls. So Ruby's, as we know, that's the company behind all of the children and adult costumes that you can purchase today. But they have released a series of candy bowls as well. And these sort of candy bowls are 16 inches tall, and it's usually a character holding a cheap plastic bowl to put sweets in. You can get sort of Yoda, Wicket, Darth Maul, Vader, Grogu, Stormtrooper, Boba Fett, and Jawa. So I've got the Jawa, and it is cheap. It's 16 inches tall and it's £25. So you can imagine it's hollow, it's cheaply made. But I think they're pretty good. So are they for the 17 plus? I mean, you could probably buy them for anyone, couldn't you? I used mine to hold Star Wars swag. I've got a Jawa holding out a bowl, and it's absolutely full to the brim of all of the sort of buttons that we've picked up and badges that we've picked up from all of the celebrations.
They're fun, aren't they? Never really seen them until you bought your one and showed us that picture of you with your swag in it.
I think we first saw them in Anaheim, Jess, if you remember.
I think back in Anaheim, for me, it was still very much like vintage. And now I think my eyes are opening up to so much more than vintage. Stuff like this appeals to me so much more now in 2021 than back in Anaheim. Yeah, they're really quite cute, you know, be it from, I think the Wicket one's really nice. I think the Wicket one would, I think the Wicket and Jawa one would suit most of us here. I think I can definitely see those two in Stu's. I don't want to call it a garage because it's so much more than that in Stu's presentation suite. But yeah, they're very good.
You will have to replace the bowl though. I mean, the bowl is the thinnest, cheapest, most rubbishy bit of plastic. You can imagine it going yellow 10 seconds after you take it out of the box. But maybe if it was a nice Star Wars bowl of a similar size, you could replace it with. But yeah, I'll put a photo online of what mine looks like with all the badges in it. It's pretty cool. I just can't say no to Jawas.
I think Americans must be a lot more trusting the kids to have these outside of their front door on Halloween. Round by here, they'd nick the sweets and they'd nick the holder as well, I reckon.
Yeah, burn your house down at the same time.
Yeah.
I did, as we were talking though, and go through the presents. That's all the gifts I looked up to. But it would be wrong for me not to mention as well that the original Stormtrooper beer as well, and all those different beers that we've been reviewing over the last year. The original Stormtrooper beers, they've been doing sort of gift packs as well that are available over the Christmas period. Now, a neighbour of mine bought me an original Stormtrooper can of beer last year, which came with a glass, and you know what, I really appreciated that. I thought it was really great. So they've got plenty of different gift packs with that come with different size glasses and you know, different cans with different sort of pilsners and pale ales and all kinds of stuff in there. And I think that for your 17 plus, I think that's a really nice present as well. But yeah, that's all from me. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. The original Stormtrooper is also, I don't know if you've seen it this year, they've released a multi-tool. So a bit like, you know, like you used to have the old pen knives where you would have your thing. Well, this has got screwdrivers and things in it and a little useful tool. So maybe a stocking filler for your Star Wars fan dad.
Yeah, don't get the Millennium Falcon bottle opener that's on Amazon. It's garbage. Right.
I'm just going to point to a couple of other little bits and pieces that I've seen which can fit into different groups. But I don't know if any of you lot have ever seen the Swarovski Star Wars range, the kind of crystal kind of ornaments. Now, the layer I've always been quite tempted by because it's the classic layer. So it's beautiful. But they do Luke and they do a Vader and they do a Han and they've got a lovely Wicket. They released a Grogu last year. But this year they've got they've got some beautiful busts out, Vader, Stormtrooper and Fett. But they've also got this Millennium Falcon on a stand. I thought, that looks quite nice because I knew the figures were in the region of about 150 to about 300. Wow, you know, a nice little ornament. So I opened up the Millennium Falcon, £12,000 for a Swarovski Millennium Falcon. I could not believe it.
You could almost buy your own ship for that.
12,000 all in advance.
But even the busts, 7,300. I've just put you the link in because the layer, I still do like the layer. I think that would look quite nice on a display. And Wicket's quite cute. But yeah, does any of these appeal to you?
No.
Not even the layer. The layer's probably a little bit classy for you, Dan.
Yeah, I think they are. I've seen them in there. I think don't they sell them in? I'm sure I've seen them in like H. Samuel's or one of the high street jewelers, and normally got them all laid out. I've seen them in a couple of places. Really
the thing with Swarovski, if you put them in the right place, the light reflects through them, doesn't it, and bounces off in different.
I got to be honest though, mate. For a gift, yeah. If I had someone buy one of those for me, I'd be gutted. Because £195.16, they could have got better Star Wars than that.
Could have got a hot toy for that.
Could have got a hot toy for that, mate. Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay then. So how about then? You're a Star Wars fan. Now everybody's into Pandora. I mean, Jez, I'm not sure whether Jules has got a Pandora bracelet, but so many people have them these days. Maybe get yourself. They've released a load of Star Wars charms to go on the. Do you all know what a Pandora bracelet is? It's basically a charm bracelet. You can get different ones. They've actually got a Star Wars band with the clasp is the Star Wars logo, and you can you get different charms and different things. But they've released a range of Star Wars charms to go on these bracelets, and perhaps one to give your wife to represent you in the stocking. Now, these are obviously better price than Swarovski. I'm not asking you to wear one, Grant, but they're all like 30, 40, 50 quid.
Do you know what? If I was going to wear one, I'd go for Mr. T.
Mr. T, right. But this has got a little Grogu in its crib, or one standing up. They've got a little Chewie, but they've also got the scene of, I think it's on Hoth, on Echo Base, Leia and Han looking like they're about to kiss on a little charm.
I like the Han, the C-3PO and R2 one. Are they in the escape pod? That one's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Escape pod they're in.
So they're a little bit different. I know Jez has got Jules the Death Star for Christmas because he's an old romantic. But, yeah,
Look
I
at
also
the size
quite like
of that thing.
I also quite like the old little backpacks. My daughter would love this. So this could be something that you might buy your children. We're probably talking primary age here, but that's a little Wicket backpack. It's coloured bright orange, and it's got little Wicket's face at the front. So the front pocket looks like a hood, and it's got little fluffy ears coming off it.
This needs to be a tradition. You coming up with a Ewok item. Was it last year? You had the costume, didn't you? The Wicket costume.
Oh, that was cute though, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they do a range of these bags. They've got Ahsoka and Grogu and whatnot. But
yeah, that works. That's awesome.
Yeah, children like that, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I don't know if you've seen the, perhaps if you're looking for your husband or your dad, they do a Beskar by Royal Selangor. They do a Beskar credit card wallet this year as well, which looks like one of the Beskar credits. Keep your cards in there. Just a bit of fun. Obviously, there's the shoes. I mean, I think you've got a pair of Pozu shoes, haven't you, Dan?
I have.
You got the Finn boot, haven't you?
They're like the little canvas shoes. They've got like Orbesh writing all over them. They're not as in your face as some of them. They're quite nice.
Yeah, I think they release a new design every year, don't they? And it's the website's quite interesting actually, because they've got how they make each boot. They've got a little video of them making each boot. So on their website at the moment, you've got a Ray boot, a Finn black boot. Finn as in the character, not as in a really thin foot. A Poe kind of cowboy boot, a Stormtrooper white boot, a BB-8 kind of Converse type looking shoe, and then a Chewbacca boot, which looks like an Ugg boot. So
you should get those. I mean, you look great in those.
Yeah, they're quite expensive, aren't they? I mean, there's no prices on this page.
I think the ones I got, because mine aren't character driven, but I think they were like 30 quid or something. I ended up paying for them. They're in the sale. But just looking down they've got nothing for 2021 yet. So they've got this Aurebesh low cut sneakers. They're the ones that I've got. But they've got nothing for 2021 at the minute.
They do a lovely daffodil slipper, Dan. If you want to step away from Star Wars.
Lovely. I know Adidas have been releasing some Star Wars trainers again as well, and I think Nike have too. So there is Star Wars footwear out there beyond these.
And what I will also say is, if you are looking for stocking fillers for any age, just go over to Etsy and type in Star Wars. There's some terrific stuff over there. My wife's one of her friends. She's the dessert chef, but not the dessert chef. I can't think what I'm looking for. That makes all the cakes and stuff for the Savoy in London. And she's got like a working kitchen at the bottom of her house. It's amazing. But she has just gone into these type of things, these chocolate bars. You've ever seen these? They're a big slab of Belgian chocolate, and then on the top they put lots of other chocolates. Now this one, the Coco Leaker shop over on Etsy. I mean, look at that great big. That chocolate is probably just under an inch thick normally. And then on the top of it, look at that. It's got a white chocolate Millennium Falcon and then a Mars bar chopped up and sunk into the chocolate as well. They are great little stocking fillers. But if they're anything like the one she made, they taste amazing as well. well worth checking out Etsy for bits and pieces for stocking fillers, because there's also always some real random stuff over there.
Very good.
Lots to look at. Boys, enjoyed that. Some great lists there. If I push you, for all of you, if you could have one thing under your tree that we've spoken about tonight, what would you choose? Grant?
Can I choose something we haven't discussed?
No.
Because I wonder, what's it called? Those NeoPixel lightsabers. You know, the £250 ones you can get with the ultra bright LEDs and all the sound effects.
Okay. This is good, actually. This is good. So on my screen, whoever's to the right and then underneath, going around right, they've got to buy whatever you've asked for. So Grant, Jez is going to get that under your tree this year. So
they're £260.50. Links are available.
Yeah, send on to Jez.
Links are available. Okay.
Jez, what would
I will get you a link.
choose?
I quite like the idea of that Oculus thing, which you've spoken about. So, and I haven't just said that, so one of you has to buy it for me. But I do think that would be good fun in the family household.
Dan, got to get Jez an Oculus.
I'll have 12 grand's worth of Swarovski Millennium Falcon.
But even after you said you hated
Yes.
it.
I think I'd go with the watch.
Yeah, nice. Mark?
Either a Hot Toys. Are we choosing anything off the list or anything at all?
It was meant to be off the lists, but Grant just went with whatever he fancied for Christmas. So
Well, nobody mentioned any Hot Toys, so I'm going to go for either the Hot Toys Lando or the Hot Toys Shore Trooper.
that's all right. Grant will sort that for you. As you're all treating each other, perhaps you could all chip into me and I'll have a dewback sofa. I would love that. That's blown my mind tonight, that piece. Yeah, boys, well, that starts off our festive season. We're going to be at Farthest From in, 10, 11 days' time? So if you're there, come and say hello. We're going to have our interview stuff out, so we'll all be there chucking in some interviews, so come and have a chat with one of us. Of course, check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Just search for Generation Skywalker. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Craig enhances everything. There's unboxing videos, all sorts going on over there. Again, just check out Generation Skywalker. If you're on Facebook, check out our We Are Generation Skywalker page. Come and join in the conversation. Or if you can't remember any of this, head over to www.generationskywalker.com, where you'll find everything you need, and also you can find our email address and links to our social media on there so you can contact us. Boys, looking forward to the festive season here on Generation Skywalker. First show of the month. Really enjoyed it. Always great to sit down and just chat Star Wars with you. But it is for this month. Goodbye from Jez.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time. Merry Christmas.
It is goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye, all.
It's goodbye from Mark.
So long.
And it is goodbye from Grant.
Yeah, good night, guys. Thanks for that. I really enjoyed this recording.
And it is good night from me. We're Generation Skywalker.